Hi, I'm Emily. Welcome to Body of Wisdom Yoga and Pilates. We're going to do a very beginner level class. Before we do, I just want to talk about Pilates just a little bit. It's different from a workout. It's more strengthening muscles for functional movement. In Pilates, we focus a lot on breath and alignment. And it's not about getting bigger muscles or anything like that. It's more getting stronger so you can go through everyday life with more ease and without getting injured. Start with your feet hip width apart, hips being here, your hip bones, and let your arms fall down by your sides. Wiggle your fingers, roll your shoulders back a few times, and then roll your shoulders forward a few times. And then let your arms settle. And then shift the weight forward. Come back to center. Shift the weight back. See how your thighs feel a little bit, like they're turning on. Come back to center. Shut down your eyes for a moment and think about just balancing over the arches. Just shut down your eyes. Picture your ankles being over your arches, your knees being over your ankles, your hips being over your knees, your shoulders being over your hips, your ears being over your shoulders, and the crown of your head reaching towards the ceiling. And then you can open the eyes. It doesn't have to be perfect. But, this is we just want to stand in the best alignment for our bodies. So trying to maintain that, just bring your fingertips on the front of your rib cage. And then inhale, feel the ribs expand into your hands. So take a nice deep inhale through the nose, and then you can exhale through your mouth. Inhale, feel the ribs expand into your hands. And then as you exhale, feel the ribs draw in closer to your spine. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And then exhale. Move your hands down to your hip bones. Your fingers will come on your hip bones, and then your thumbs will come to like the top edge of your pelvis, like back here. Okay, and then bend the knees a little bit, just soften the knees. And then you're just gonna tilt your pelvis forward and back. So when you're tilting it forward, you've got a little teeny arch. And then when you're tilting it back, you just have a small, just a little bit of a flexed lumbar. So you're just gonna go forward and back just a few times. Just warming up. Straighten the legs. Let's come back into that standing position. Keep reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Think about your ribs floating up off your hips, real gentle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And just try and be equally weighted on both sides of your feet. Okay, so I'm gonna reach my hands behind my head. Take a nice inhale here. And then as you exhale, feel your front ribs soften towards your spine. Again, inhale. And then exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Take one more inhale. Reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, lean over to your right. And then inhale, come back to center. So the trick here is now to lean into your hip. You want to grow taller on the inhale, stay equally weighted on both feet, and then come into a lateral bend, and then lift back up. Let's do that once more. Inhale, grow taller, and then exhale. Inhale, back to center. We're gonna go to the other side. Inhale, reach the crown of the head. Exhale over. Inhale, lift. And notice if you're creeping over to the opposite side. I do. You just have to reset each time. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale over. Inhale, back to center. Last time, inhale, and then exhale. Inhale back to center. Good, lower your arms down by your sides. Circle your shoulders back a few times, forward a few times. Okay, moving on, you're gonna stay facing front. I'm gonna turn to the side. So you're gonna inhale, reach both arms up. Make sure that you're not flaring the ribs. So you wanna keep your front ribs, just kind of aiming down towards the tips of your toes, the tops of your toes. And then you're just gonna bend your knees and round, like you're rounding over a beach ball, and bring it all the way down to the floor. This is a great place for a block. So you can place your hands on the block and then just let it go. Nod your head yes and no. And then you're gonna bend your knees a little bit deeper, release, and then roll up one vertebrae at a time. Good, and then circle your shoulders back. And we'll do that again. Inhale, reach, make sure you're not flaring the ribs, bend the knees, exhale. You're gonna reach over that beach ball, and then land the hands on the floor or on the block. Shake your head no and yes. And then bend the knees and then roll up. Your head will be the last thing to lift. And just notice where your weight is. Are you still centered over the arches? And then circle it back one more time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, round it forward. And then nod your head yes, and shake your head no. Okay, so we're gonna stay leaning forward, and you're just gonna come onto your hands and knees. I'm gonna stay like this. You can stay facing front. So we're in tabletop position. Spread your fingertips wide. Gaze is between the thumbs. Draw your navel towards your spine. Reach your sit bones back and the crown of the head forward. And you want to think about the top of your head being an extension of your spine. So a lot of times we're like this or we're like this. And you want to keep the crown of your head in line with your spine. So draw your navel towards your spine. And we're going to do something called sternum drops. So you're going to keep the arms straight. And then exhale, lower the sternum down towards the floor. Press firmly into the mat. And then you're going to lift up. So you're basically protracting and retracting the shoulder blades. So you're going to lower down. And then lift up. Feel the shoulders wide across the back. Let's do 3 more. Lower down and lift up. Lower down and lift up. One more time. Lower down and lift up. Good. And then just stretch it back. And then we'll come back into our tabletop. Okay, so that was more in the upper body. Now we're just gonna articulate the lower body. So keeping the top of the head in line with the spine, you're gonna tilt your pubic bone forward, but the upper body stays still. And then you're gonna lift your sit bones. You're gonna tilt the pubic bone forward, exhale. Inhale. So you should feel your lower abdominals working right now. Exhale. And the belly is supported. You don't want to just collapse here. So you want to stay strong. Press firmly through the hands. Let's do one more. Exhale, round. Inhale. And then we'll bring it into a full cat-cow, starting with cow. So drop the waist, lift the sit bones, reach the heart forward. Exhale, come into your cat. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Good, and then stretch it back just for a breath. And then we'll come back into tabletop. I'm gonna face the front. Extend your left arm forward, and then slide the right toes back. Then lift your leg up. You're gonna tap both your toes and your fingertips and lift. Tap and lift. One more. Tap and lift. And then lower your hand and lower your knee. And then you can just do a few cat-cows. We'll go to the other side. Extend your arm forward, your right arm forward. Slide the left toes back. Lift your leg up. Make sure your hips and shoulders are square to the floor. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Lower your hand and your knee, and maybe just do a few cat-cows and come into child's pose. Walk your hands over to the right. Stretch your left fingertips forward. Reach your left sit bones back. And then just take it to the other side. Good. Okay, so let's come on to your bellies. If you have a tweaky back, you can roll a towel, maybe two, and you can put them under your hip bones. So you can play around with it. So I kind of do. So I'm putting one towel under my hips, and they should be like your hip bones. Okay, so you're gonna cross your hands in front of you, and your elbows are wide. You're gonna rest the top of your head on the back of your hands. And then open your feet about hip width apart again. Press the tops of the feet into the mat, and then tilt your pubic bone slightly forward. And then you're gonna press into the forearms. Keep gazing down towards your fingers, but lift the chest. Press into the forearms, reach the heart for the front edge of your mat, and then lower it down. Again, press into the tops of the feet. Lift the kneecaps. Inhale, reach the heart forward, and then lower it down. One more time. Lift, and exhale, lower. Now you're gonna gold post your arms. So your elbows are in a right angle. And if you don't like the feeling of the top of your head on the mat, you can place a towel under your forehead. And your elbows are not too wide. And then the same thing. So you're gonna press into the forearms and just lift the chest. Isometrically pull the elbows back towards you. Bottom ribs are anchored on the mat, so nothing in your lower back is extending. And then lower it down. Inhale, lift. And lower it down. One more time. Inhale, lift. And lower it down. Okay, good. We're going to add on one more thing. So again, just reset. Tilt your pubic bone forward just a little bit to lengthen out your lumbar spine so you're not arched in the back. Press into the tops of the feet and lift your kneecap so your legs are nice and active. And on your next inhale, you're going to do what you just did. You're just going to lift. Stay here. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale, lift the arms, pull the elbows back, reach the heart forward. And again, the top of the head is in line with your spine, so you're not looking up this way. And then lower it all down. We're gonna do 4 more. Inhale, press into the arms, reach the heart forward. Exhale here. Inhale, lift the arms and pull the elbows back. And lower it down, exhale. 3 more. Press into the arms. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Top of the head's in line with the spine. And then exhale, let it go. Inhale, lift the arms and pull the arms back. Feel those muscles in between your shoulder blades firing up. Lower down. Let's do 2 more. Press into the arms and the tops of the feet. Exhale. Inhale, pull the arms back. Exhale, lower. 1 more. Press into the arms. Reach the heart forward. Lift, pull the arms back, and then let it go. Good, let your hips go side to side here. And then reach your arms forward and really just let it go. Adding on or changing it up, we're gonna stack your hands again like we did the first time through underneath your forehead. We're gonna work on the legs now. So legs are shoulder width apart, or hip width apart, and anywhere between. And tilt your pubic bone slightly forward. You're gonna reach your right leg, point the toe so much that it lifts off the mat. You feel your glutes engage, and then lower it down. Again, point the toe, really reach, lift, and lower. 3 more times. Point, reach. The glutes are what's lifting your leg, and lower. 2 more. Point, reach and lift, and lower. Last one. Point, reach and lift, and lower. And then just let your hips go side to side again. And we'll do the other side. So stack your hands underneath your forehead. Press into the top of both feet. Reach your left toes. Lift. And then lower. Reach. Lift. And lower. Reach, lift, and lower. 2 more. Reach, lift, and lower. 1 more. Reach, lift, and lower. Good job. And then let the hips go side to side. We're going to do 1 more thing. It's a little challenge. So starting on the right, you're going to point your toe, reach again, lift. Now bend the knee, flex the heel, and see if you can bring it up a little higher. Straighten it out, point the toe, and lower. We're going to go to the other side. Reach, lift, bend the knee and flex the ankle. Straighten and point, and lower. 2 more each side. Lift, flex, see if you can lift a little higher, point the toe and straighten, and lower. Lift, bend the knee, straighten and point, and lower. Last time, lift, bend the knee, press it up maybe a little higher, straighten and lower, lift, bend, flex the ankle, press it up, point and straighten, and lower, and you can take it into your child's pose. And just breathe into the back body. As you inhale, feel your lower back fill with air. And then as you exhale, feel your belly soften on your thighs. Good. And then we're gonna come onto your side. So lay on your right side. Again, you can always use a towel if you don't like your head or your face on the mat. And actually, I'll put my head. Okay, so start with your top hand stacked over your bottom hand. Reach your arm all the way up and over. Reach behind you. Now your hand does not have to touch the floor. Both palms are facing the ceiling. You're just rotating the upper back, and then bring it back around. Twice more. Inhale and open and reach. One more time. Inhale, open and reach. And then you'll roll over to your other side. I'm gonna get up and roll over this way so you can see me. And your top hand will be stacked on top of the bottom. Inhale and open. And then come back around. Inhale to open. And then come back around on the exhale. Inhale to open. And then come back around. And now you get to roll onto your backs. So you're on your back. Walk your feet in so they're close to your seat, and your feet should be about anywhere between your shoulders and your hips apart. And just bring your arms down by your sides. Nod your head yes and no. And then again, just settle somewhere in the middle. So you don't want your chin on your chest. You want to have a nice curve in your neck, in your cervical spine. So just press the back of the head into the mat, and then lift your toes up, and then spread all 10 toes on the mat. Lift your heels up, and then soften your heels onto the mat. And your feet should feel nice and wide on the mat. And then spread your fingertips wide and just let the natural curves in your spine happen. So don't press your lower back into the mat, and just breathe into the ribs, not the belly. So breathe into the ribs, and then exhale out through the mouth. And then we'll do some pelvic tilts. So now you will draw your pubic bone towards your belly button. Gently press the lumbar spine in towards the mat. Don't jam it in. You're just gently pressing it in with the breath. And then as you inhale, you'll release. So don't go into a deep arch or anything. You're just gonna tilt your pelvis forward and back with the breath. Inhaling to tilt the pubic bone towards the belly button, and then release. Okay, so now stand firmly through all 10 toes, through the inside and the outside of the feet. Spread your fingertips wide. Exhale, tilt your pubic bone towards your belly button. Press into the backs of the feet and hover the hips off the mat. This won't be a high bridge. You're just hovering off the mat. Feel your glutes engage, but you're not gripping. And then reach your sit bones for the heels to lower. So think of a drawbridge. You're not articulating down one vertebrae at a time, which is another exercise. It's a great exercise, but that's not what we're doing. So press into the bottoms of the feet. Make sure you're equally weighted on the big toe and the pinky toe side of your feet. And then lift, hover, engage the glutes lightly, and then lower it down. It's harder than it looks. Let's do that a few more times. Press into the bottoms of the feet, lightly engage the glutes. Reach the sit bones for your heels, so you're lengthening out the spine almost as you're lowering. Let's do that one more time. Press into the bottoms of the feet. and then lift the hips. And then lower it down. Okay, now bring one knee in at a time. So this is called shelf position. So here's where you really do want to engage. I don't like the word bracing because I feel like it makes you like grip. So I'm going to show you how I like to engage my core. So your knees are over your hips. Your shins are parallel to the floor. Your triceps are resting on the mat. And then gently, maybe not gently, press your palms into your thighs and your thighs into your palms. See what happens to your core. See what happens to your back. Keeping that, just take the hands off. We'll do that a few more times. Exhale, press. Feel the back ribs gently pressing into the mat. And then maintain that as you float the hands off the thighs. Let's do that again. Press the hands into the thighs. Float the hands off. And as you can see, you're working really hard right now and you're not like thinking about bracing. Okay, so that's just the beginning. We're gonna add on. You'll keep a right angle in your knees. So you're going to keep the exact same shape as your leg. You're gonna tap the right toe down and pull it back up. Over to the left and lift it back up. Let's just go back here and make sure that you're engaged. Lower the arms. Okay, we're gonna go for 5 on each side. Exhale, lower, inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, inhale to lift. If you feel at any time like you're losing it, just press your hands into the thighs. Exhale to lower, and make sure that you're not just dipping that toe down. You want to keep the same shape. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift, and hug your knees in and just rock side to side. And then you can roll over onto your side and press up. We're gonna end with mermaid pose. So this is the traditional position that might not be comfortable for you. You can sit on something here. You can also sit cross-legged. If that's not comfortable, you can sit on a block. So you can just sit on a block. And your hips higher than the knees. I'm gonna go into traditional position. So the goal is to keep your sit bones both anchored. It's really challenging. It's hard for me, but it's the goal. That's the visual you want. That doesn't mean it's gonna happen. You just want that image in your head, and that's what you wanna work towards. So ground your fingertips, take a nice inhale. As you exhale, again, feel your ribs sink back towards the back ribs. Reach the crown of the head, and then lean over, and then lift it back up. Again, lean over, reaching this sit bone down towards the floor. It might not touch, mine isn't, but that's the goal. And lift. Let's do that a couple more times. Over, and lift. One more time. Over. Now stay here. Lower your left hand. Face the wall in front of you now, and reach your heart forward. Now your hip does come off, and you just get a nice stretch here. Then place your right hand back over, left arm comes over your ear, and lift all the way up. Now we'll go to the other side. So again, you can sit on a block, cross-legged. You can even sit on your knees on a block. So anchor your fingertips, take a nice inhale, and then exhale your front ribs towards your back ribs, imagining that your right sit bone is down on the mat. It might not be, that's okay. So grow taller without lifting the shoulders, and then exhale, lean over, and then inhale, lift. Exhale, over. Inhale, lift. This time you're gonna come over, rotate your chest towards the wall, and reach your heart forward. The sit bone does come off there. Place your left hand under your shoulder, reach over, inhale, lift all the way back up, and you're done. Great job. I hope you're proud of yourself. This was a lot of work. I know a lot of people say Pilates isn't hard. Well, they're wrong. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.